What's up, guys? Happy Friday. So today's video is on a really basic topic. This topic should probably go even before my Back to the Basics presentation, but I just wanted to give some recommendations for campaign naming, campaign structure, as well as just keyword structure. So there's a lot of different opinions everywhere in the space on these three topics. So I kind of wanted to explain why we do things the way we do. And if that resonates with you, then definitely feel free to roll with some of our structures. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Amazon advertising campaign naming, because we need to talk about that before we talk about campaign structure. Let's see here. All right. Campaign naming. So I have laid out a lot of the strategies we run, as well as the typical names we have for those strategies. So when we're creating a campaign, one of the first things we do is come up with a product identifier. So the product identifier is a way for us to quickly identify what the campaign is running an ad for immediately within the UI of Amazon Advertising Console. So in this example, let's say I have cat food. Let's say I sell cat litter and cat toys. If I am quickly looking right here, I can see that all of my campaigns are focused on some of my cat food variations. Now, that being said, the second thing we typically put in a campaign name is the ASIN. The main reason we do put the ASIN in there is just so that it's easily searchable within the UI. For reporting purposes, you can still pull the advertised product report from sponsored products and try to correlate data. But when you're quickly scrolling through the UI and let's say you're looking for a specific ASIN, how's this performing? It's really quick to just search by the ASIN name. If portfolios were better, you may not need to do this, but portfolios are pretty glitchy in that, one, sponsored display campaigns don't go within them. And then of course, sponsored brand campaigns aren't ASIN specific unless it's SBV. So product identifier, ASIN, unless it's a sponsored brand landing page or any sponsored brand ad other than video, because sponsored brand landing page and store page drive to multiple ASINs. So we typically don't put a specific ASIN in there unless we're running a sponsored brand like ranking strategy, really hitting hard one ASIN that is our primary ASIN, maybe driving to a store page or something like that. So typically we'll just leave this open with the product identifier of all three of our cat food variations: chicken, salmon, and turkey. The next big thing is the type of ad. Again, this is within the UI. We just like to put it in there just for ease of, again, searchability. The next thing we typically put in is the type of targeting. So SP keyword research, keywords, or SPPT if it's product targeting, or SBV, sponsor brands video, or SD branded product targeting, SD category targeting, SBLP, sponsored brands landing page, SPACL, sponsor product auto close match. As you know, we typically separate our auto campaigns into 4 different campaigns. Unless we're working at scale for a really large account, then we'll do 2 auto campaigns per keyword. One focused on close match and loose match, which is keywords. One focused on complements and substitutes, which is typically ASINs. So this is pretty much the basis. The other thing we'll add is if it's a specific strategy, so a ranking strategy, we'll put that in there so we can search by all of our ranking campaigns, know that they're a higher ACOS, see what our CPCs are for our top keywords. Or if we're doing a very, very precise targeting strategy like sponsored display, category targeting, and then refining by reviews, I will put that there as well so I can quickly see all my review campaigns. Oh, wow, we're converting really well on all of our competitors that have poorer reviews than us. The last thing I'll maybe put is if I decide to segment by match type, I'll put B, P, and E just for the ease of segmentation. Again, you can pull your search from report, pull this data. I don't always segment my keywords by broad phrase and exact, and we'll talk about that later. But if I do, I go ahead and throw it in the naming just so I can kind of compare them really easily within the Campaign Manager UI. So beyond campaign naming, we now have Amazon advertising campaign structure. So if anyone's watched a lot of my presentations, I've covered this quite a few times, so I'm going to run through here. We do not run multiple ad groups. We run 1 ad group per campaign. Main reason being is budget control is on the campaign level. So if I have 3 ad groups, one's a 90%, one's a 10%, one's a 35%, I can't I may not want to increase my budget because it may average out to 50% ACOS if 90% is more heavily skewed. So without that kind of control, it's just, I don't love running multiple ad groups because you're going to see the average on the campaign level of all of these results. Here is it laid out just a little bit better. Let's go here. So again, if I have 3 individual campaigns just like this, one again is the 90% one that I saw in my ad group, I'm going to lower my budget to $10 a day because I don't want to spend a ton of money on it, but I know if I have good keyword research, I can optimize my bids down to the point of making that profitable. So I'm going to lower it down and just spend a tiny bit of money on it as I collect data and optimize. My 10% ACOS is fantastic. I'm going to increase that budget to $100 a day and hope that I can spend more with how well I'm converting. My $50 a day ad group isn't running bad. It's close to my break even. So let's give it $50 a day, continue to collect data. And then as I continue to optimize, I can then, increase my budget as my ACOS lowers. So this is pretty much why we don't recommend running multiple ad groups. Organization sakes, yes, it may be easier to run multiple ad groups, but when it comes to granularity and scale, it's just so much easier to have, one campaign. And then you don't need to click into that campaign, see 20 ad groups, and then have to click into every single ad group to optimize. You get what you get in the UI from the campaign level. You know exactly how that ad group is performing because it's the same as the campaign. You're not averaging out the data across multiple ad groups. So that's the basis behind that. Now, when it comes to, when it comes to multiple products in a campaign, the same philosophy can be applied. But that being said, when we are managing at scale, one of the first launches we do is multiple products within a campaign. We kind of use Pareto's principle here. And we know that if I take, let's say again, I have 10 variations of cat food. My first launch, just for Better AMS, because we're an agency, we will typically, put a lot of those cat food products, if they're very, very similar, incredibly similar cat food products, in a campaign with our top keywords to collect data across them and see what does best. And then once we start seeing what ASINs are doing best and we have time to start scaling in the long term, our goal is to have 1 ASIN per campaign because we can collect data. And similar to our ad groups, if one ASIN's performing better, because maybe it's a lower price point, so our conversion rate's better, we could increase our budget. So very similar to our ad group strategy, our ideal is to have 1 ASIN per campaign. In the beginning, if we're still collecting data and testing, I don't mind having multiple ASINs in a campaign. It's just not as great for control and granularity. It's for our sake, it's a little bit easier to scale and collect data on. So that's kind of what are the recommendations I have there. Here's actually a great screenshot I pulled. So this is a legacy account we have that initially when we took over the account had multiple ASINs that weren't even relevant in the same campaign. So it is a perfect example here. If we have this product right here with a $7 ROAS, and then you have this product right here with a $2 ROAS, and it averages out to be 436. If this product was in its own campaign, you can see it has a ton of data behind it and a lot of spend history. If it's in its own campaign, I can give it $1,000 a day budget knowing it's driving incredible returns. If this product is in its own campaign, I can decrease the budget knowing that it's a $2.65 ROAS and that spend needs to be scaled back until I optimize. So this is just a quick example of data-based reasoning for my decision-making with recommending you run individual products in a campaign. Now, of course, there's context behind this. If you have 3,000 products and you're managing your ads by hand, you may want to group products together and throw them all up in a campaign just for ease of launching if you don't know how to use bulk, things like that. So that's kind of what our recommendation is with the data, not necessarily for like reality and whatever your current situation is. We personally have a macro built for bulk launchers that allows us to launch keywords at scale for all of our ASINs. And again, that's what our goal is long term. We just typically don't start with that from a data collection perspective. All right, one other reason I wanted to throw in, and someone can check me on this if I'm wrong. Things may have changed. But if you have all of your products in one campaign, that one campaign will win one ad placement at any given point in time. Now, think of this universally. We're in the matrix. Any given point in time changes from whatever computer you're on, geography, if someone else is searching it. But if I had one campaign, I would win with all of these products. I would just win this sponsored product placement. But since we have this person, this brand has 4 campaigns with their individual products, they're winning all 4 placements on one screen in any given point in time. If they had all their products in one campaign, they would win one placement. And I could be wrong on this. It's been quite a few months since I verified this with our data, so Amazon may have changed something. But it could be beneficial to separate out your products in individual campaigns just so you win more ad inventory at any given point in time. And those typically do not compete. Well, I say typically, they don't compete. I get this often is, hey, if I'm number 1 and I bid on number 2 with the same products that are only different because of pack size, and I'm bidding on the same keyword, are they going to compete? And they don't. I have spent like 50 grand in a day testing this with 2 products. This product may have a $22 bid. This product may have a $3 bid. And that bid's also going to depend on your relevancy and your click-through rate. They're not going to sit here and go 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and try to outbid each other. It's not quite how it works. So you don't need to worry about product competition internally. We have taken 10 products and bid on the exact same keyword, the same bid. And that bid will change, and half of those products will convert completely different than the other half of the products. So it's not a concern. All right, so Amazon advertising keyword structure, another hot topic in the Amazon community. There's not a lot of science behind this per se, because it's another contextual topic. I get asked often, do you only put 20 keywords in a campaign? Do you put 300 keywords in a campaign? Why do you have this many keywords in a campaign? At the end of the day, it's just kind of based off your personal math and budget. As an example, take this setup right here. Cat food, $2 bid. We're going to assume bid is synonymous with CPC. So we're spending $2 cost per click right here, right here, and right here, right? And these are the clicks we're getting per day. In order to get this many clicks per day, we're going to need to spend $60. And this isn't a ton of data. This is 3 keywords. It is a higher bid than probably most of your guys' categories, but that's not a lot. So what I'm saying is if you have 100 keywords in a campaign and a $5 a day budget, it's going to take you a very, very long time to collect all of that data. So just kind of break it down. Use the math. We typically launch all campaigns with a $20 a day budget. And then once we start collecting data on a few keywords, we start scaling. If it's a big account, we have budgets that are up to $10,000 a day on campaigns because we know that we can scale. And if we have a $10,000 a day budget, I can launch more keywords within that campaign because I know that they're all going to be able to get traffic. If I'm making a blanket recommendation for people, I would probably recommend launching it with, under 50 keywords in a campaign. Because if you have 50 keywords and a $1 bid and you want to get 10 clicks on every single keyword, that's $500. Now you don't need to get all that in one day. You can get that in 7 days. So if I do that math, that means I would need a $71 a day budget in order to get 10 clicks across 50 keywords. Of course, your spend is not going to be skewed evenly. You can upload 50 keywords. They're not all going to get 10 clicks evenly within 7 days at that budget. What's going to happen is a few of your keywords may be higher volume and you may have a strong enough bid to win a ton of data. But just kind of work backwards on that math. Don't stress out by it. If anything, you can always start with a $5 a day budget and a few keywords with low bids. If you don't get any impressions, increase your bid. If you get way too much spend, decrease your bid. It's just a healthy balance, but your bid management is going to be one of the most important things you do with Amazon advertising. 100%, probably one of the most important things. That being said, check out my 15-minute bid optimization video if need be. That really helps walk through how bid management works. All right, with that, here's another quick example of a campaign with lots of keywords. Another reason you may want to go slightly more granular is, again, your data is going to be skewed, just like with ad groups, just like with multiple products in your campaign. So you can see here, all of this is scaled incredibly well. It's converting pretty well. Bid management's doing its job. I don't actually have the bid on here, but if you see a delta in CPC and bid management, that's how you know bid management's working. But the more keywords in you have in a campaign, the more you're going to have to average out that data. So if I have 100 keywords and they all have one click and it was $1 bid, that's $100 in spend with no data on keywords. We recommend getting 8 to 10 clicks before making an optimization. So just do that math. If I need to get 8 to 10 clicks across these keywords, what does that spend need to look like? So hopefully that helps. And I think that, yeah, that is the last slide I had. Almost kept this video under 20 minutes. Let me know if you guys have any other questions in the comments, and I'll try to get you guys Loom videos. Thank you so much for listening in. Please like and follow, ask questions for more videos. And if you see anyone in the groups asking these types of questions, please share these videos with them. As you know, I'm incredibly passionate about sharing transparent and honest information to really help everyone out there. So thank you guys so much for supporting us at Better AMS, and have a wonderful weekend. See ya.